Welcome to our lesson on maintaining water and nitrogen balance. The key questions for today are 1. How are water levels in the body maintained? 2. What hormones are involved in maintaining water balance? 3. What is the function of the kidneys? 4. What happens when the kidneys do not function correctly? 5. How is kidney failure treated? The key words you'll need to know are osmosis, selective, reabsorption, deaminated, urea. The maintenance of the correct water balance in the body is essential for optimum cell function. If there is too much water in the body, the cells can take in water by osmosis and become too turgid and even burst. If there is too little water in the body, the cells may lose too much water by osmosis and become flaccid. Both of these scenarios result in reduced cell function. Task: what is osmosis? Osmosis is the movement of water from an area with high water concentration to an area of low water concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. If there is lots of water in the blood and tissue fluid around a cell, the water will move into the cells, causing them to swell and burst. If there is more water in the cells than in the blood and tissue fluid, then water will move out of the cells, causing them to shrivel up. Extension: what does semi-permeable mean? A semi-permeable membrane is a membrane that allows some molecules to pass through, but not all. Water is lost from the body in sweat, along with ions and urea, and by exhalation via the lungs. The body has no control over how much water is lost in this way. Excess water, along with ions and urea, is excreted from the body as urine. Urine is produced in the kidneys. The kidneys are responsible for maintaining water balance in the body. They have other functions, including filtering the blood to remove the toxin, urea, and excess ions. Urea is formed from the deamination of excess amino acids in the liver. Deamination is the removal of the amino group from the amino acid. This results in the formation of ammonia, which is toxic. So it is reacted with carbon dioxide to form urea. This is less toxic and is removed from the blood by the kidneys and excreted in the urine. Task: the digestion of what food group results in the presence of amino acids? Amino acids are the result of digesting proteins. Urine is produced by the kidneys through the process of ultrafiltration and then selective reabsorption. The blood is first pushed at high pressure through small capillaries surrounded by kidney tubules, and substances that are small enough to fit through the tubule walls will leave the blood and enter the tubule. Some substances, such as glucose and some ions, are selectively reabsorbed into the blood from the tubule. Water is also selectively reabsorbed. The permeability of the tubules is affected by a hormone called ADH. ADH is released by the pituitary gland, but the hypothalamus monitors the water concentration in the blood and signals the release of ADH by the pituitary gland. When there is too little water in the blood, ADH is secreted by the pituitary gland and travels in the blood to the target organ. The target organ for ADH is the kidneys. ADH increases the permeability of the kidney tubules, causing more water to be reabsorbed into the blood. This means less urine is produced, and it would be darker in colour and more concentrated. When there is too much water in the blood, the pituitary gland does not secrete ADH, so the permeability of the kidney tubules does not increase. This means little water is reabsorbed back into the blood and more is lost as urine. The urine is paler and more dilute as it contains more water. Extension. Explain how maintaining water balance is an example of negative feedback. The amount of water in the blood is monitored by the hypothalamus, and if there is too little water, the hypothalamus causes the pituitary gland to release ADH, which increases the amount of water that is reabsorbed by the kidneys, restoring the water balance of the body. If the water concentration gets too high, the hypothalamus causes the pituitary gland to stop releasing ADH, so less water is reabsorbed, restoring the water balance of the body. If a person has kidney disease, their kidneys may not function correctly. They may have a kidney transplant or be treated with dialysis. Task. What are the advantages and disadvantages of a kidney transplant? Kidney transplants give a patient a new kidney, so they can live a more normal life without the need for regular hospital appointments for dialysis. However, the operation itself poses risks of infection and of having anaesthetic. The kidney may also be rejected. To make rejection less likely, anyone who has an organ transplant has to take immunosuppressant drugs, which may make them more likely to become ill from other communicable diseases. Dialysis is a process by which a person's blood is artificially filtered. A dialysis machine replicates the job of the kidneys. First, blood is removed from the patient's arm from an artery. It's then passed through a machine where it flows through a semi-permeable membrane tube that passes through dialysis fluid. Dialysis fluid contains the correct amount of ions and glucose, so that any excess in the person's blood will move out of the blood by diffusion. The dialysis fluid contains no urea, so that the urea in the person's blood will move out and into the dialysis fluid. The dialysis fluid flows the opposite way to the blood through the machine, so that a concentration gradient is maintained. This means as much of the urea as possible moves out of the person's blood. Task. What are the advantages and disadvantages of dialysis? When a person has dialysis, there is no need for surgery. However, it must be carried out at a hospital or dialysis centre up to 3 times a week. It is a lengthy process and can be uncomfortable. The person also has to follow a strict diet that limits protein and salt. Dialysis may be used to keep a person alive while they wait for a kidney donor.